just enjoyed your very, very, attractive mango festival, the king of fruits. And the Japanese people, including diplomats, government officials, and parliamentarians and general public, they were very much appreciated about your introduction to the Pakistani, food. But let us ask you, as a first question, when was your first time to have recognized Japan, and what was your first impression about Japanese people or Japanese culture or anything Japan, and why and when you came to Japan?
Thank you, Excellency. First, let me welcome you to the embassy. I'm deeply honored with your presence here on a wonderful day that we can share the marvelous fruit of Pakistan, the sweetness, the richness that signifies our friendship. And I was really honored to have so many wonderful people, ambassadors and people from the foreign ministry, the chief of protocol, from METI, from MAF, all the corporate sector was here. For me, it wasn't just the mango, it was the love and friendship that the Japanese people have for Pakistan. Now, to answer, Excellency, your question, I think I must have been about 8 or 9 years old when at school somebody gave me a calendar, and on the calendar was the very first train, the Shinkansen, the bullet train, going past Mount Fuji, a snow-covered Mount Fuji. So I was thrilled to receive this. And what do little boys do? They play with cars, they play with trains, and they play with aeroplanes. And when I saw this, I thought, I must go to Japan, because riding a train was so exciting for me. And as I said, I was 8 years old. And I was always fascinated with Japan. Then I had a taste for science fiction, and I was deeply impressed by Gojira.
Oh, Gojira.
Yeah, the Godzilla and Mothra. So I thought about Japanese culture when I was a very little boy. And over the years, in various diplomatic assignments, and there was a Japanese colleague when I was posted in Turkey who really introduced me to Japanese food for the first time. I'm talking about over 20 years ago. And then when I was living in the United States, of course, I had many more Japanese friends, and in New York, which has so much fantastic Japanese restaurants and culture. So I was introduced to many aspects of Japanese life. And Japan has had a very big cultural imprint in Pakistan, not just through its technology. My very first car was a Suzuki. Because it was the first factory set up in South Asia in 1983 by Suzuki. My second car was a Toyota, and then I was buying Toyotas all over the world. And then my last Japanese car was a Honda when I was in Pakistan. So my television was Sony. So we have this big connection between Pakistan and Japan, for me personally as well. And it was a thrill and an honor. In fact, it was unexpected that my government would give me such an honor to come to the great country such as Japan.
So, Ambassador Aamil, do you still remember what was the very first Japanese food you enjoyed? You said, you were thrilled by Japanese culture and food, but was it the Japanese sushi or noodle, or do you remember, Japanese food, your first time in? What was that Japanese food which you really enjoyed?
Well, my very first one was, of course, sushi was there, but tempura was there.
Tempura.
Tempura, and I loved the sauces that you were dipping the tempura in and eating, and I remember this very, very clearly. I also remember very clearly this fruit that we have in Pakistan, called Japani Phal, which means Japanese fruit, and persimmon.
I see.
And so we have this in Pakistan, and I used to think, this is the taste of this fruit, which it's from Japan for us.
Oh, really?
So
was it a Japanese Phal?
Phal means fruit.
Japanese fruit. Japanese fruit.
Japanese fruit, and it's Japani Phal.
Japani Phal.
Yeah, Phal. So
I see.
this is persimmon, if I remember.
Persimmon.
correctly.
Persimmon.
Yes.
Kaki
So I remember eating this as a child, and we have so many seasonal fruits throughout the year, and this was one of them. But I hadn't discovered Wagyu beef. If I discovered Wagyu beef then, I would have been crazy for Japanese food, because I love teppanyaki.
Teppanyaki. Really?
So I love this.
I see.
Very, very delicious.
I see. So are there many Pakistani people who also enjoy Japanese food and Japanese culture?
Yes, of course, because the Japanese food in the restaurants is generally in Pakistan. The restaurants that are there cater for the wealthier classes. But what we forget is that we have a huge amount of Pakistanis who are living in around the world in cosmopolitan cities like New York and London, in Dubai. And there are lots of Japanese restaurants there. So Japanese cuisine is an international cuisine. Our educated people, millions of them, are an educated diaspora. And they are familiar with all the cuisines, and Japanese is one of them.
Good. So are there many Japanese restaurants in Pakistan?
We would like to see more. There are some good ones in Karachi and in Lahore. We have one in Islamabad as well. But we don't have like the normal little restaurants that you have all over Japan. We don't have that there. And the food is very different, and yet in so many ways is very similar. The teppanyaki, the grilling. The deep fried, we have pakoras and you have tempura. So there's many similarities in this, but it's the flavor, it's the marinades and the sauces of Japan which is unequaled in the world. I mean, it's just complete, for me, they're so delicious. You put a simple vegetable, and the food here is so fresh. You put one little thing and you dip it into the different sauces. It's absolutely so delicious. It's making my mouth water.
Good, good. So, Ambassador Aarmil,